FSU Pistols and Pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
The Seminole Headlines 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV begins right now. The boys, they're here. I see Ira, I see Corey, and we celebrate companionship, togetherness yet again, and our friends at Register Sausage. Now, if I sound a little under the weather, don't let that bother you. The boys are ready to do the heavy lifting today. They're all good to go, but here's a hearty, yay, sausage!
I took a lot out of you, I bet.
It was a good effort.
Yeah, hey, listen, guys, I'm here. I'm ready to guide the ship. I'm gonna need you guys to be rock stars today. You guys got to be good.
You don't have to tell Corey that.
I'm always a rock star.
Let's go.
And you certainly don't have to tell Register Sausage people that, because if you want the best sausage you can get anywhere, registermeats.com is the website. Or if you're in the Southeast, go into your local grocery store. Most of the Publixes, Winn-Dixie's, some of the other Walmarts and stores like that have them. But if your grocer does not, or you can't find it, go see the meat manager and ask them what's the deal and can they get it delivered? Because Ben and the folks at Register Sausage will do whatever they have to do to get it delivered to your grocery store. It's the best sausage you can get, and they'll deliver it to your house. If you don't have it locally, order it from registermeats.com and it'll come shipped fresh to your house.
I would suggest anytime you walk into a store, restaurant, any business, ask who the meat manager is.
Yeah, it's good to know your meat manager.
Wherever you are.
I like the title. I think I would be overwhelmed the day I was named meat manager.
Would you go with meat MGR on your tag, or would you spell out manager?
I'd have to spell out manager. Yeah. I want you to read it aloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you might get confused what the MGR is, but you're not confused a manager if it's spelled out.
Big giant letters.
Yeah.
That'd be me.
I feel like what was it was the butcher on the Brady Bunch.
Yes.
Alice was friends with the butcher. I don't know if he went by meat manager.
No, he didn't. It was her meat manager. They intimated.
On Paul's Boutique, the Beastie Boys famed record, there is the line, bringing Alice the meat.
Yeah. I like that we went from a 1977 reference to an 88 reference. We're climbing our way up.
Glenn came through, Sam the Butcher. There you go.
Yeah. And he says I'm like Sam the Butcher.
If he had said Sam the Meat Manager, that might have a little risque for the 70s.
Yeah.
Good times. Welcome in, everybody. We're good to go. You can tell we're all normal. So the weekend that was. Oh, by the way, tomorrow. Sick or not, I'm doing it. I'm bucking up, guys. I'm gonna make sure it happens. Adam Fuller.
You better bring it, buddy.
I will.
Because if you're 60%, 65%, Adam Fuller's gonna call you out on it.
He will. And I was locked in for my 2 interviews last week. The one with Norvell and one with Link Jarrett. I owe Adam Fuller my best.
Yes.
I gotta do the right thing. And I'm supposed to have Alex Atkins this week too.
Look at you.
Busy time.
Okay, man.
Gotta
nice.
lay it out there. Let's go. I'm ready to go.
Adam Fuller will call out people for not asking. Like he's called out Aslan for not asking questions. He'll keep you on your toes.
He also Aslan will always ask like, "What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And Adam Fuller just has no time for it. None. Like Aslan's trying to add a little levity to the
he didn't want to
football.
Hear it.
He's like, no. What is this? What are we doing
got
here?
caught doing it last year, and I feel like we've got a good rapport, me and Adam Fuller. But I mentioned something about baldness because I too am bald.
He's kind of your new Adazio.
Yeah, he's
I feel
not.
like maybe.
Yeah, oh yeah, me and Adam. Yeah, that's right. But I thought we had it like that. Apparently, he was setting the record straight. We don't. I mentioned balding as a bald man,
right?
And he too is bald. And he was like, "That's what we're doing here. You're gonna ask me questions about being bald?"
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, he's serious. I better get with the questioning.
Your first question should be about baldness tomorrow.
Yeah.
How does he do it? Does he shave? Does he need to?
And let him get angry.
Yeah.
And be like, "Come on, don't you remember getting mad at me last year? Let's go." No. I'm actually. This is Tom and I talked about this. Heading into spring, there are a lot of questions and you want answers and you want to know what do they want to know by the end of spring. I'm not even kidding about this. Like, how excited are we that it's almost here? Just like that.
Yeah.
Spring is rapidly approaching. It's not filler content. It's stuff that there's serious competition. There are a lot of serious questions surrounding the program. It will feel like the first time in a long time that there really is. You know how football fans always say there's no off season in football. And I usually roll my eyes because, yeah, there is. But I don't think so heading into this year because of the expectations, because of the hope that this could be a championship caliber team.
We're like 13 days away.
I was going to say only one more Seminole Headlines before spring practice starts. Yeah, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of like, at first you say, I'm curious what he's going to have to say about spring. But now, like, it's pressing. He's probably got a good idea. I'm going to ask both coaches, what is it they hope to have figured out by the end of this spring? What needs to be figured out by the end of the spring?
I think on that side of the ball, certainly more than the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
I mean, on offense, you're looking at, you're bringing back, you have a couple questions on offensive line, but you have a lot of guys that you feel good about stepping into those roles. But you feel, obviously quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end has gotten a lot of improvement. So I think on that side of the ball, it's going to be getting the best out of all the material you have, but feel good about the material you have. Defense has got more questions. Not only do you lose Jamie Robinson, who was your leading tackler the last 2 years and probably your best overall player on defense overall, but you also have some other pieces you're replacing on the defensive line and elsewhere. So there's more, I think, on the plate for Adam Fuller, but I feel like he's got to feel pretty good about the supplies he's gathered this offseason as well.
Yeah, and he's not working. I don't feel like he's working with as many new guys as they are on offense. Now, the offensive guys they brought in, they already had a good offense, but you've got a couple new linemen, you've got 2 new tight ends. What has Adam got new on defense?
Mostly up front on the defensive line.
He's got the 2 defensive tackles in Cypress, right?
And Gilbert Edmond, the defensive end as well. So 3 defensive linemen.
I always
up front.
Forget about him. What do we think he's going to be? We think he's going to be a rotation guy, probably.
I think he's competing, man. I don't think you'd say that McClendon's like got that other defensive end spot locked down.
No, I think Patrick Payton has the other one.
I don't know if he's got it locked down either. He didn't start all last season. So I think Gilbert Edmonds, and that guy's played a lot of college football. I think he's going to be in that mix for that other spot.
Yeah. Their defensive line is
those 4 defensive ends. I mean, that's your 4 defensive ends, which one big question I have is, what do you do with Dennis Briggs? Does he go back? Is he a tackle or is he an end? Look, man, you kind of write him off, but he's a player. He's a college football player. He came up big in a couple of situations late last year.
Well, it's important to note too that he was not all the way back. I don't think he was 100% healthy this season. So I think Briggs has a chance. I like that he's versatile. Briggs is a versatile player that you can move it inside and outside when he's back. Sometimes it takes more than a year for a guy to get back from a leg, man. So
and they haven't done him any favors by moving him back and forth.
I do. I think he's versatile. Like, if you want a guy to set the edge as opposed to rush the passer, there's a guy with size that can do that when you move him outside in situations like that. I do think he is a positional piece. Listen, all of the pressure is on that defense, but there's a reason to be excited about it and to watch that competition. You just laid it out there, but don't forget about the addition of Patrick Surtain. That's a fresh set of eyes looking at that secondary. And who knows what they do? They could move Renardo Green back to safety. You could have a situation with Azaria really blossoms and becomes a lockdown guy on the other side. And then Finchal Cypress comes in. And now Renardo Green moves to safety because he's had experience doing it, to go with Shaheem Brown. And then the other guys, who knows? Does Noles bounce back to where he should have been? Didn't have a good year as a nickel corner. Needs to be better in that situation. The same goes for Duke Cooper. How does the new coach of that position group affect who we see and how much better their play is or is not? Same goes for Travis Jay. I know it's a long shot, but nobody would deny his athleticism. Maybe he's got a new lease on life. So there's no shortage of questions.
Well, and I'm curious about the nickelback spot because it basically became Kevin Knowles and Greedy Vance splitting time. For the second half of last
Greedy
season.
Was better. Greedy seemed appreciably better.
I wonder what the decision making goes in there. Like, when do they play who? Is Kevin really ahead of him? Is that why he stayed in the starting lineup, or can Greedy pass him? That's another position. I think there's not a big question mark there. You know who the 2 competitors are, but how does it play out?
But I think when you just look at the overall, the makeup of this team, what should excite everyone is we were just like, I had forgotten Dennis Briggs was on the team, and that's more my fault than his, but that's how deep they are on the defensive line, that he's almost, at least for me, maybe I'm the outlier, he's an afterthought. And he's a guy that's played a lot of college football and might be a decent player. That's how much depth they now have on the defensive line, right? Yeah, they got a kid from, where'd he come from? South Carolina?
Gilbert Edmond.
Yeah. Who might be the second string defense man. He might be starter. He might be behind McClendon. He might be behind McClendon and Peyton. So when you look at what they've done on both sides of the line of scrimmage, because they got a lot of dudes on the offensive line too.
Yeah.
They can play. That's what we've all been waiting for. You have a good line of scrimmage with a lot of depth pieces. That's what good teams have. You can afford a loss or 2, maybe not to Jared Verse or people like that, and still have good players behind them. That's where they've tried to get for a long time.
2 quick things from the chat real quick. Doug asked about what about Dent? When you were running through the players in the secondary, you just didn't mention him, but Akeem Dent is a returning starter safety. He could be in there. And then Scott June asking, hey, Jeff and Corey, any updates on FSU basketball? First of all, like, why am I not as part of the show? But that's fine. You guys talk about it. When we get to FSU basketball, you guys can talk about that. I'll talk about
You don't want to talk
team.
about
I'll talk about football and baseball.
What's your favorite deep track on the latest record?
on the Taylor Swift?
The latest one.
I know them all cold.
So
I
the
would
deep
say
track that you would think is
the one about her
surprise, I suppose.
ex-boyfriend. I think.
yeah, the one where she
Oh,
seems
yeah.
kind of
She kinda
lovesick.
gets out of character there
Yeah.
for her.
By the way, Matthew closing every show with Taylor
how
is
good
my
is that? Is
is
that-
one of my favorite things
Oh, it's great.
that we've ever had on
He
Seminole
also,
Headlines.
oh,
Yeah.
there it is. There
Yeah.
it is. It's also good that we get the eastbound and down send off too, which is
Yeah.
also my favorite as well. No, so yeah, there is nothing new on basketball. They lost yet again over the weekend, which is kind of what's going to happen
what they
the rest
do,
of the way. And
They're setting the record, the countdown to the record. They're one away from tying it, which was Miami on Saturday. They'll lose that game to tie the school record for losses.
If they're not
and
careful,
then-
they'll lose that game by 40 again.
And then I think they play North Carolina at home
Correct.
the next Wednesday, Senior Day.
That's a desperate North Carolina team.
I think Florida State's probably going to lose that one.
Well,
too.
there's a road trip to Virginia Tech, I think, and
That's
then
at
also
the end of the year.
yeah, and then also you got the ACC tournament. There's some there's
Thoroughly
some, there's
updated,
some,
everybody.
some
So you're
Thoroughly
looking
updated.
at probably 3 more losses, right? That gets you to four
could
more
be
losses.
4, yeah.
So it
on
gets
a
you to
side note, on a serious question, just that this is all this is. We're not going to wallow in this. On a serious note, I was not concerned that Leonard Hamilton would not be back after this year. I thought for sure he would be no matter what. I'm not so sure anymore. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm
if
not
they
so sure
go
anymore.
8, they're going to finish at best with 23 losses and probably 24.
That's a tough situation. I
They're-
hate it.
they're
I hate it.
crushing
it makes me
this-
sick to
but
my
I-
stomach.
But I just like that if you're going to have a bad year, like an all-time
Well,
bad
crush
year,
it.
crush the record.
Go all in.
Don't just tie it or sneak past it.
Shouldn't be
Make
tied.
it unsustainable where nobody else can get. He's going to be Cy Young out there.
Should not be tied to this.
It's like
man.
Tin Cup.
It's all,
Yeah, go down in a blaze of
Yeah.
glory.
Give me another ball. Yeah, it's tough. It's hurtful, but I'm not so sure anymore.
We'll keep it moving.
So back to what we were talking about. Here's the thing. One thing I'm going to circle back to Briggs for a second. Before the cheap shot, before he got hurt, they loved Briggs. What they
Yeah.
thought Briggs was going to be was a stud. Nothing short of that. If he gets back to full strength, and I would maintain he was never full strength last year. He was good enough to play. He worked hard to play. He provided quality reps, not elite reps, but quality reps. He could be a big surprise if he returns to the form and the path that he was on. He could all of a sudden you may have a real plus player on your hands that you had last year just filling roles.
But the beauty is he doesn't have to play.
He
But the
doesn't,
point being,
but
he's been forced to play even when he probably shouldn't have been. Now, if he doesn't raise his level, if he doesn't raise his game at either position, there aren't just spots where you're, well, Dennis, get out there. They got spots full. They got 4 dudes
depth is
at
important.
each position that can play.
And I think he's best suited to be that big defensive end like Akir Thomas. But I don't know if that's where you play him because you've got 4 or 5 really solid, I think, defensive ends. But defensive tackle, you're pretty good shape there. So that he's one of those guys. I think this spring we're going to learn a lot. Where do they play him? How does he look? Can he get into that top group? Is he a pass rusher that's going to rack up 12 sacks?
No, that's not.
But
He'll never be that.
He doesn't need to be that.
That's correct. He doesn't need to be that. And when you were talking about the offensive line, they go 10 plus.
Yeah.
And there are real questions about competition at almost every level. You can move guys from outside to inside. How nice is it to talk about legitimate tackles competing for jobs? We had guards playing tackle and guards playing center and guards playing guards. That's what they had. They've got a real tackle, another real tackle. They brought in a real tackle. Those guys will compete. They've got a tackle they might move into guard where he's best suited at the next level. You got competition perhaps at center. Some of the returning players that last year you didn't want to play were too young, got bigger, stronger. They were allowed to grow. They were allowed to learn. They were allowed to get their technique where it needed to be. Maybe a guy like Estes emerges, who last year really struggled with that technique a little bit. That's why he couldn't break it into the lineup. But it wasn't body type. It wasn't strength. It was a lack of consistency with that. So guys were allowed to develop last year.
And if you look at it, as you said, the first few years that this coaching staff's been here, it's been a lot of turning guards into tackles. Now they brought in some tackles that they're going to play inside a guard. And that's fun, man, especially the way they block, the way they like their linemen to be able to play in space, get those guys out to the second level.
Yeah.
There's a different level of athleticism across the board.
Do we think that Demetri Emanuel is going to play football? Is he going to be out there on March 6th playing?
Well, yeah, he'll definitely. I think he'll be here in the spring. I don't think they've gotten a final decision on his waiver. I think they feel pretty good. Demetri Emanuel is applying for a waiver to get an extra year of eligibility based on a season he didn't really play at Charlotte. So they're trying to get that waiver. I think until they know for sure he's going to practice, he's still part of the team.
Imagine that, though. He was pretty good last year.
He was
started
good.
every game. And even if he's on the team, there is absolutely no guarantee my man starts. That's kind of the that tells you where they are as an offensive line and as a football team.
It's why the stories that we get to cover on a daily basis, starting when spring begins, will be better and more interesting on a daily basis than we've had in years and years and years. Let's put it that way.
Ever, because you think about when the team was really good, we didn't have this kind of access.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, it's silly to think about. Like, you could have a guy that in your head is penciled in as a starter, no doubt, and then there's 3 other guys fighting like hell to surpass that guy. This is what you want as a coach. And so that's why I'm going to ask the question, like, what do you want to know, if anything? What do you have to know by the time you leave spring? And it may not be along the offensive line, may not be along the defensive line. It could very well be that we know Tate Rodemaker is bona fide the backup quarterback and A.J. Duffy is the third string, or vice versa. Maybe A.J. Duffy emerges as the backup. Tate last year, when he got his chance against Louisville, played well. There weren't too many shining moments outside of that for Tate. Does he feel more comfortable? Does he look better? I just want to know that if for any reason Jordan Travis misses time, this is this machine that can keep rolling and win games. Maybe you're not going to win a championship without Jordan, but you can win a lot of games because they're better up front, because you're deep in the backfield, because your receiving core is better, because you have tight ends, because all of a sudden the defense is a much better product as well. You real high hopes with a lot of intensity in practice for people competing for those reps as starters.
The other thing that's going to come out of this is some of the losers for some of these jobs, whether it be starting jobs or second team jobs, are probably going to go in that portal. The portal is going to open back up at the end of the spring.
Yeah.
And so as a coaching staff, you
massage that?
Yeah. Do you kind of like the guys you want to keep? Do you make sure they're still engaged?
Yeah.
Guys you don't necessarily want to keep, do you make it clear to them that, hey, you're not going to get on the field.
But you're not giving some false confidence.
You're not naming starters at the end of the spring. So
no, but they can kind of figure out.
The players can kind of, but then be coy about it. Be like, hey, so-and-so, you're running. Let them run ones half the time. Not like don't tip your hand, guys. Don't tip your hand until August 30th.
Unless it's guys you do want.
It will be hilarious
because you got to make some room,
right?
And we're going to have to be careful about the way we report here, and we always are. But it'll be funny if the first time we catch the coaching staff doing what you're talking about, you're like, well, they really did prattle on today about so and so. He's looked like ass all spring. This is we're going to know exactly what's going on right there. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
Big Brothers Big Sisters of Big Bend, along with Love Tito's Foundation, is excited to launch the Big Draft. Get in the game today. Become a Sports Buddies mentor. Visit bigbendmentoring.org/sports buddies to find out more.
Motorcycle accident? Call Facing Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
Parker Services, conferences to call away. 222-7722. Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services, conferences to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services, conferences to call away. Parker Services, conferences to call away.
Tallahassee's favorite family-owned Apple and Mac product stores moved to an all-new location. Mac and More Systems is now located at 230 John Knox Road. Same great people, same great services, same great prices, all at a new location. Mac and More offers computer and Apple device sales, one-on-one consulting, business services, and the most experienced Apple repair team in the city. Learn how to get the most out of your Apple gear. Come by and say hi to the Mac and More Systems team today at their new location, 230 John Knox Road.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
We've awoken the masses, man. People are locked in. They want to know about position changes.
Nice.
They want to know if we've got people going from offense to defense. They want to know, yeah, let's go. I like it, guys. Way to wake up. That's right. Spring football's nearly here. We haven't even touched on the baseball sweep. Noles play on the road against Jacksonville tonight, right?
JU.
Yeah.
JU, yeah.
Tom Lang's a little nervous, right? Or is it?
No, it's Matt
Millar. Matt Millar's quaking right now.
You're going to like this. This is the early this morning text that I got from the famous Matt Millar, who writes, quote, the schedule makers did Link no favors scheduling JU this early in his career. 4th game of the season. Are you kidding me? I wrote back, stern test. He wrote back, could be career defining. We'll see.
That's right.
So
It's a big game out there.
That's the early morning chatter from one Matt Millar about JU tonight. And there you go. By the way, it was Artis Gilmore that went to JU and also D. Brown.
And Artis Gilmore used to play Dave Cowens and Tully Jim. They had some great battles
on the regular. Yeah, yes, he did.
Speaking of looking at the old school guys, Caleb Mills, shout out to Caleb Mills for breaking the Civic Center record for most free throws made and attempted in a game by a Florida State player. He was 17 of 21. Bob Sura had the previous mark. Bob Sura went 16 for 16 in the game.
Different caliber players, but still
sure.
Nonetheless. Yeah.
But then I was looking up because I was like, man, this has got to be close to the most free throws a Florida State's player attempted all time in a game. It was not. There was a guy named Jim Oler who has all the free throws record, man. He was like, he must have been like LeBron back in the day, just drawing fouls left and right, or James Harden. He had like 30 free throw attempts in a game.
Did he shoot him underhanded?
Probably it was 1955, Ira. He might have bounced him off his head for all we know, but he had a good percentage.
By law, I think.
You had to back then. And by the way, that's the way to do it. Little known fact, the day that Chamberlain scored 100 points, well, they say he did. Who knows? Nobody was there to see it. He shot his free throws underhanded, and he was like 28 of 32 in that game. And then he went back to shooting them overhanded because he thought he looked dumb.
And he did. He did look dumb.
Well, yeah, sure, but it also looks dumb when you keep clanking them off the backboard.
Agreed. I'm just saying both things can be true.
So there you go. The one year he shot free throws underhanded, he was 28 out of 32 in a game free thrower.
I made the mistake one time interviewing Rick Barry about free throw shooting. And man,
was he an ass, by the way?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? What kind of question?
Just thought maybe it was like a different interview. Like, why are you telling this story? Maybe he was nice that day.
Oh no. I actually won him over by dealing with his cantankerousness. I still have that interview. I'm going to keep it because any day now I'll need to break it out and be like, in memory. But
Right.
old Rick has got an opinion about every player that ever lived.
Oh, of course.
And including guys like LeBron James and Michael Jordan, both of whom were worlds better than he was, who he will emphatically tell you were not.
Yeah.
Right.
Miami guy. He went to Miami.
Yeah.
Yes, just he brought up that pride and the inability to shoot free throws underhanded the way that he did for a long time in his career speaks to his greatness and their.
His kid at Florida, like whatever that was,
Yeah.
8 or 10 years ago, did him under, and he led the nation in free throw
Well, his
shooting.
other kid won the dunk contest.
Yeah, but it's like
Brett Perry.
it works. Like this doesn't look that silly if they go in.
Oh, it looks really silly.
I
It
mean, who
looks
cares?
completely
Ridiculously
silly. We're not
silly.
going to get into this argument. It looks silly. I don't disagree. If you can make all of them, do it.
What a Naheem McLeod. What looks sillier than the way he currently shoots free throws?
Now, you know who should have shot free throws underhand is the kid, the 7-footer they had last year. Remember that kid? He barely would hit the rim. He didn't play much. What was
Oh,
his
that's
name?
right. Yeah,
No.
yeah, I forgot.
I
about
don't remember.
that
But
guy.
I know
Anyways.
Naheem McLeod hits the rim as if he's mad at it.
Speaking
So
of
why not shoot it a different way?
speaking of fundamentals,
Mm.
how about the lack of strikeouts from the FSU baseball
Was
team?
there a total of 20?
No, I think it was less than that. I think
No, I
it
think
I
was-
don't know. I'll
less
look it
than
up.
that.
I'll look it up. You
I thought it
guys
was
talk.
22.
oh,
you guys
it
talk.
might have been. I thought it was less than that. But
That's
but
still not bad.
but yeah, but you
I
could
could be
just
wrong.
tell what I liked was with 2 strikes, you didn't see guys swinging out of their cleats.
Yeah.
Which is what we saw a lot of the last several years. And really, maybe college baseball in general is going back to normal baseball because it didn't seem like James Madison was doing that either. They play more station to station, that kind of baseball, which is just, again, it's just more pleasant to
The
watch.
ball's in play. Ira.
Yes.
The ball is
You're
in
seeing
play.
plays, double
People got to
plays,
make plays.
bunt defense.
Send guys on motion because the ball's
Yes.
put in play.
Yes.
Imagine that.
15. They struck out
15.
15
Oh, I had it
times.
wrong.
They,
Good.
but they only struck out 22 batters as a
Oh, that's
pitching
what the
staff.
22
Yeah.
was in my
Right.
head. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, no, hey, listen, I didn't see nary a game this weekend. Just so you know, I didn't see one. I was out of town. I also wanted an excuse to use nary.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just want you to know.
You don't need an excuse to say
No,
no.
I just got to work it in there. But I didn't see, and that is the only disappointing aspect of my, out of town trip this past weekend was here I was geared up for opening day, went out of town, very enjoyable family trip,
But nary a game.
nary a game.
Glenn asked if I was talking about Nagam. I was not talking about Tenor Nagam.
Yeah,
Tenor
yeah.
Nagam had a feathery touch.
Yeah, he did,
I'm gonna
man. He
find
was
the
a
other
I'm
guy.
great
waiting
free
for that
throw
big
shooter.
year he's going to have any day now.
Buy stock now.
I'm
Buy
gonna-
stock now and Tenor and Gum.
I'm gonna find out who it was. You guys keep talking. It was not Tenor and Gam.
Oh,
Put respect on his name.
feathery touch.
But yeah, so I did. I mean, they struck out 15 times in 3 games. That was one game for them at times last year. Averaging 5 strikeouts a game. That'll play. Put the ball in play. You're going to get the runner home from third a lot. You're going to advance runners. They did have some.
Quincy Ballard was my guy.
Quincy Ballard. yeah.
Literally the worst free throw shooter ever. He would not look weird.
Neither
would
would
not look
McLeod. That's what I'm saying. McLeod's a 38% free throw shooter. That's embarrassing. Not if you become a 70% free throw shooter shooting them underhanded.
The mere look, the action looks cheesy.
Now they're just
Yeah.
throwing out names of bad 7-footers at Florida State.
We've had a
They're all-
bunch of them.
Hey, they're all coming through. They're all coming through. So there's a Mount Rushmore.
There we go. There you go.
Yeah,
guys.
there's Jackie
Now-
Moon.
now
I mean,
actually-
that looks ridiculous.
Now that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
If we had a player who did it with those shorts and did this after
Just started kissing
Oh,
the ball
for the-
and then doing the squats
for
for,
the
30
non-
seconds.
For the non-YouTube audience, you might want to fill them in a little bit.
Yeah, I said Jackie Moon. It's Will
yeah,
Ferrell doing his stick at the free throw line.
I would watch that and cheer loudly.
Yeah.
If we had a player doing that, especially if they made him after all of that, people would be grossed out because he's kissing the ball. Like, come on, man, what are we doing here?
What do y'all think the odds are that Travis Jay plays this year?
Oh, I think
plays
there's a good
meaningful
chance.
snaps.
I think there's a good chance.
Okay,
I think
good.
there's a good chance too. I keep bringing it up. I'm trying to speak it into being.
What I liked, and I brought this up on Wake Up Warchant. Well, we brought it up, Aslan and I, multiple times. It's like there were at least 3 kids when they were talking about Tour of Duty, these newcomers, that mentioned Travis Jay kind of taking them under his wing,
So
show them around the school, showing them what it's like to be a football, all that stuff. It's like, man, that's at least a kid that is engaged
You would
in
like
this program.
you'd like to think the last year has matured him.
man,
a lot.
think about it. That's more stunning. Everything that we're talking about, his engagement, his
Yeah.
focus, his ability to lock in after all that was what was going on. We won't get into all that. My man's still here and engaged and cares and is trying.
Trying to be a leader.
Correct. You'll root for somebody like that
Yeah.
to turn it around. Let's just, ambiguous. Just turn it around. Because, listen, selfishly, there's an athlete there. There's a freak of an athlete in there. If they can get him to believe that he can make a play on the football, he was in position countless times when he was getting run. He's never made a play, like ever. And it was so frustrating. I think somewhere along the way,
An interception on Hail Mary.
yeah, that's true. And I do think somewhere along the way, you noted this one time, Ira, when we were talking about him. I think it broke his spirit. I think it broke him and he lost confidence. And then after a while, he wasn't making plays, not because he was, because he was in position, just didn't make a play. No, he was not in position anymore. And it was at that point you thought, well, this is.
And I don't think, they've moved him back and forth, safety to corner. I don't think corner was a good fit. He's going back to safety. He played there. He practiced there all last season. And that's where he'll be. And I think there's, look, man, there's an opening there. They need, you lose Jamie Robinson. Not only do you lose Jamie Robinson, you also lost Pac-Man, Jarquez McClellan, the second team safety. So there's reps to be had this spring, and the decisions they're going to make based on what they do in the portal after this spring might hinge a little bit on what Travis Jay looks like at safety.
I just
not that I think he's going to be a starter,
right,
but I think he's in the mix.
Give him some depth, some real depth.
I picture Patrick Surtain looking at that kid going, damn. I mean,
let's figure this out.
I got a guy that long who can run like that, who's that athletic. I got to find a way. I got to get this kid to have the light bulb go off and believe I can utilize somebody with that skill set. And again, it's not unheard of. Tom and I brought this up the other day. Tom brought up the fact that he's like, look, man, when we went into camp last year, nobody thought Renardo Green was going to play any kind of role. Like, dude emerged as your best corner.
Yeah.
And he may get moved back to safety. Who knows? But he emerged as your best corner.
We'll see. I think they're going to keep him at corner, I think. But we'll see.
But that's just a cool story. LaMarcus Brutus was somebody I brought up. Right. Like, you never thought we were going to get anything out of LaMarcus Brutus. It got to a point where if LaMarcus Brutus didn't play because he got everybody organized, you're like, damn, no LaMarcus Brutus is going to be a problem. So, think about that. Who knows? I mean, it's not outlandish to say that Travis Jay figures it out. Playing in space is hard, man. It's really hard. It's different when if you're getting beat up front in the trenches, somebody's bigger and stronger than you. You know what you have to do. You got to go get in the gym. You got to go put on weight. Got to get lower. Got to get better technique. When you're out in space and you lose confidence, man, you can really get exposed for the world to see, as opposed to in the interior of an offensive or defensive line. And I just hope, I think for him, a lot of that did have to do with confidence. Once it happened more than once, you began to doubt yourself. You can't have a false step in the secondary. That's your ass.
And you think about 2 years ago when Jarvis Brownlee was starting and played every single snap.
Yeah.
No matter what happened. Like, there was no other option.
He played that last snap against Jacksonville State.
He did
was
play
on the
that
field
snap.
for that one.
He was
too.
on that one.
Yeah.
He was on the field for that one.
Travis Jay wasn't.
But
that wasn't his fault.
You didn't have a lot of options.
Look what happened.
Yep.
And so now you have a lot of options. I mean, you think about it, corner, for the second half of the year, it was Renardo Green and Jarian Jones as your starters. But now you bring in Fentrell Cypress. You've got Azaria Thomas last year played. I didn't realize how much he played last year.
Yeah, man. Especially at the end of the year, he played a lot.
At the end of the year, he did, yeah.
So, I mean, they're playing kind of smarter reps. So you've got 4 or 5 guys at corner that all those guys think they're going to be starting. So
let's go. Get it on.
So you're going to have great competition and then see what ends up happening at the end of the spring, because you may have 1 or 2 of them decide to check out.
It'll be funny, though, with the fan base when it comes to Travis Jay in particular, because we've gone into 3 separate seasons where it's like, let's see what Travis Jay looks like. They're done with that. Like, right. And it doesn't matter what reports we give in the spring or even in August. This will be one. I think we got a lot of credibility last year with the things we said we saw in August that ended up becoming true. But I think the Travis Jay one, almost to a man, woman, they will say, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
That's what they said about Tate Rodemaker last year, and then he got his opportunity in the game against Louisville, made throws, stood in the pocket, took shots to make some big throws in the second half. He finally showed that there was talent there, which we had seen numerous times.
And people thought we were lying.
Well, they certainly doubted it.
And just to clarify on Travis Jay, because people assume because he wasn't playing last year that he was so buried on the depth chart. He wasn't eligible last season. He practiced. He wasn't able to play.
That's correct.
So now he's eligible again, and we'll see he was eligible for the bowl game. We'll see what he can do this spring.
We're rooting for him. The NFL season has come to an end, but at MyBookie, the opportunities to win don't stop. Whether you bet to earn or to make the games more exciting, MyBookie gives you the most for your money with their redesigned deposit bonus. Getting started is easy. Just visit mybookie.ag and use promo code. That's right, MyBookie, Warchant. Use promo code Warchant, friends. That's what you're going to use here. And claim a bonus up to $2,000. Promo code Warchant to get a deposit bonus that gives you extra funds to play with all the way up to $2,000 with MyBookie. Bet on the NBA, NHL, UFC, or play for a share of the big cash prizes in the weekly online blackjack tournaments. So many brands to choose from. You need a platform that makes it simple to bet and win like MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Your local news now.
According to a statement from the state attorney's office, Clarence Washington was found guilty of second-degree attempted murder following a 3-day jury trial in connection with a 2021 shooting incident that happened on the 1800 block of Littleton Circle. Washington waited for the victim outside of her home on October 28th of 2021. When she arrived, he jumped out of some bushes and fired a shotgun toward her car. One bullet grazed her back, another was blocked by the steering wheel. Washington harassed the victim multiple times in the days before the shooting. A sentencing date has been set for March 7th. Florida A&M University announced Monday that it's receiving $1.3 million from BP to help fund scholarships for students. It's part of an HBCU fellowship grant program put on by the oil and gas company. The grant money will fund 5 full-ride scholarships each year for the next 3 years. The program will be primarily focused on students pursuing science, technology, engineering, and math, but could also include students in the university's business program. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a high of 80. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight, 63. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 78. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday with daytime highs approaching 83. 86 Friday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawns.com. Right now, 78.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Hey, Greg Tish here along with Matty Rowe. And you can listen to us Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3. Matt, we give away a couple things each week.
Just a few.
We've got the Florida Farm Bureau Insurance Wheel of Food. We have Give Me a Second, where we play a second of a song and you guess that song. And we also play FLA or Nay. We have a lot of fun Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on
The Greg Tish Show.
Think that's enough?
We could talk about our feelings.
There's a lot.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Yeah, we're not eligible to report everything we know during the season. Just saw some of that chatter in the chat there on Warchant TV. People wondering why we didn't talk about that sooner. Well, we weren't supposed to talk about him being ineligible.
Yep,
Travis
their
Shea.
rules.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't confirm it.
Yeah.
And
we knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then he was eligible for the bowl game, and he'll be eligible this spring. So anyway, we'll see. Hopefully it goes well for him. Again, I'm not like Corey said, I mean, I'm not all in on Travis Shea. I'm not saying, it's definitely going to happen. This is definitely the year.
That's not true. Just in the break, that's all you were talking about.
I'm talking about on the air, man.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Don't mess it up.
Travis Shea's going to be an All-American.
You're shattering it.
But we do. I mean, he's definitely got athletic ability, and he's definitely got more from everything we hear. He's got things in order, and I think there's a great opportunity there for him. If he doesn't do it this spring, then that's probably the end of the road. I think he's a guy. If Travis Shea is not in the top rotation at safety at the end of the spring, I'd be surprised if he would be here in the fall.
It's an underrated aspect of spring conversation, but how much progress does AJ Duffy make? I wasn't impressed last year.
Neither you or Corey.
Nope.
I did not have any high expectations for a freshman quarterback.
I didn't either.
So I didn't
either.
I think when he throws it on air, I think he's got a good arm. He's talented.
The arm strength is not what I'm questioning. I just never saw him put together back-to-back practices or anything with consistency. I know he's a freshman. That's why my expectations were minimal, and he didn't meet them. Doesn't mean he won't.
But I guess I don't know.
Doesn't mean he won't.
I don't know what you guys were hoping to see.
I thought when he got reps and opportunities, he looked terrible.
He also was always behind the third team offensive line.
And that's why this is a better opportunity. That's why I brought it up.
Because remember Tate before Tate got to play with the ones or twos. I mean, it looked a lot like that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I'm presenting this to be an interesting time for him, because he's going to have an opportunity to play behind an offensive line that won't suck, even if it's the second or third string offensive line. He'll have real players. Real players. That's the kind of depth that we're talking about, that they now have guys where it's not a wash, that he goes out there with the third string against the third string defense, and you're not like, oh, well, geez, they can't block. They could block it up. He might have time.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll have real weapons to throw to, too. So that's the other part about the depth, is that now you can have really intense practices right down the depth chart, because they can keep him upright. And let's see if he gets patient and makes throws. And he might.
Yeah, and he'll get some work, I'm sure, with the second team. And he's not really a freshman anymore. I know he is a name, but he got here. Wasn't he here last spring?
Yeah.
So this will be his second spring. So you want to see a jump now.
Yeah.
You definitely want to see a jump to a guy that, I remember, speaking of that Louisville game, people at halftime, even as bad as that throw was that Tate made, holy moly, maybe the worst throw of that we've ever seen.
Oh, no. He's thrown. He has thrown a worse pass.
And then the interception in Louisville.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm more mad at Norvell.
I'm both of those. I'm mad at the coaching staff on all of those throws.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not giving
the one
Tate a
against
chance.
Jacksonville State was ridiculous.
But people at halftime of the Louisville game were saying, on Twitter anyway, well, even in the press box, like, you've got to make a change. You got to go with Duffy. I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, yeah, because that was so bad that maybe Tate's just done. He shot. But I didn't think he was close in practice to Rodemaker. Now let's see how closer he is.
That's
you know what I mean?
He could take a huge step forward this year. He's had a year under his belt. They've got better quality depth. He should have an opportunity
because
to
they're
stand
both
upright and make throws.
They're both playing for. Well, no, number one, you need depth for 2023. There's a chance you're going to have some of those. One of them will have to have some big moments again in 2023.
Maybe, yeah.
But then they're also both eyeing 2024. And who's going to be the starter? And
right. Well, the reality is
now that race starts now.
The reality is we don't have a lot of background and I remember saying this in the spring when we were talking about the offensive line in the spring. I remember saying, I don't know how concerned to be because I don't know what Alex Atkins is expecting in the spring. Like for Dimitri Emmanuel or Jasmine Turrentine, or Turrentine wasn't here yet, but like, what is he expecting out of those guys? I don't know what it should look like necessarily for a first-year freshman in their first year at Florida State at quarterback. I think we'll get a better feel once we see Brock Glenn, because now it's another true freshman we're going to get to watch it, because we didn't get to see Purdy and Rodemaker their first year because of COVID. We didn't get to see it as up close as we did this. So this will be a good chance to see what Glenn looks like. The reason I believe Duffy's got ability is because when you see him on air, I think he can make every throw. It looked like he completely got domed up once they started doing team stuff, but I don't know if that's normal or not.
I think it is normal. I just thought, I guess my gripe, and if it's not really a gripe, it's just an observation that I think he has a chance to take a huge step forward. My problem was that we got midway through the year and then 3 quarters through the year, and I didn't see any progress when he got the opportunity to play. Now, it could be that once you are under immense amounts of pressure every time you get out there to play, you're seeing ghosts, and it gets difficult to remain patient because you haven't had evidence that it's going to be blocked up for you. That's entirely possible. And it is certainly normal for a true freshman quarterback to come in and look terrible. I don't expect, you see these phenoms sometimes, but I get that he wasn't supposed to be good right away. I just thought that as the year progressed, I would have saw more in the way of progress from him. I never really felt like I did.
And a lot of times when a freshman does look good, it's because they've tailored an offense around a freshman to look good. But if they're asking him because they don't need him to play right away to try to learn everything, and you're drowning in information, that's a little bit different. You think back to Jaden Daniels as a true freshman at Arizona State, and he had that great touchdown interception ratio. Yeah. He turned into a decent player last year, but his second and third years were not good at all. Mm-hmm. And once they started giving him more to do. So I just think this spring will be big. I don't disagree with you at all. It'll be good to see what AJ Duffy looks like this spring. There should be some marked improvement.
We get a kicking competition, too.
That's true.
It just continues to get better, guys.
Yeah.
Just when you think that not every position has competition, I go, oh, no.
That kid's from Etsu, right?
Yeah,
Isn't he from Etsu?
ETSU, baby. Yeah,
he's kicked in big games.
Well,
then.
I'm going to have to talk to him. He got to play outdoors. I played indoors in the mini dome. He got to play outdoors. They built a nice new stadium. I'm going to have to talk to him about it. Maybe I'll just pull him aside.
The house that Cameron built.
You guys will be over there doing your thing. And
you're going to talk about Johnson City, Tennessee. Yeah.
See which bars are still there all these years later and all that good stuff. No, but honestly, I am excited they brought in a kid who had great success. And the thing is, kicking, unlike being a star running back at a lower division, kicking's kicking. You're kicking a 57-yarder or you're not.
Yeah.
I mean,
the goalposts are the same size and in the same spot.
If you're making kicks consistently, I mean, yeah, it's a different stage, but still, kicking's kicking.
It was funny watching the Charlie Ward documentary on the ACC network because they went into Scott Bentley a little bit, and I was having to explain, I was getting to explain to Kim and the kids about Scott Bentley and just how him being on the cover of Sports Illustrated as a freshman kicker because he signed with Florida State.
Crazy.
And just, that background for people that didn't know, it's amazing. And then what Florida State became from a kicking standpoint.
Yeah.
After that.
Crazy.
I mean, maybe the best kickers in over 20 years.
For ages. Yeah, run for the ages. So it's almost like you replaced one all-world kicker with another all-world kicker, and then you think, well, they can't do it again, and then they did. It had to have been immensely frustrating for our opponents that worked.
Do you think Fitzy can turn it around? So he's 12 of 20 last year.
He got a lot better late.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
better.
I mean, again, the last game, he kicked a field goal, and then it was at the end of the half where he tried like a 52-yarder and was short. I just don't know in this day and age when you're competing for what Norvell is competing for, when you are you're trying to be a big boy program that can win a national championship. Just look around the country, man. Most of these schools, I shouldn't say all of them, they have kickers that are kicking it from 58 and are good. They don't give away points. And it's not just giving away points by missing field goals. It's going for 4th and 7 at the 24-yard line because you don't trust your kicker.
Make a 44-yarder.
So that to me, him going in the portal and getting a kid like this shows me what he thinks this season could be.
He had to, man. If he just stood pat.
Right.
I mean.
But, no, for sure. But he did, it's going to be a real competition because that's a really important part of this team. You cannot give away points, whether it's, again, when you're at the 24-yard line, 4th and 6, that's probably a time to go get your points. But if you have a kicker you don't trust, what do you do? You got to go for it. And he gave away the NC State game.
It definitely affected decisions he made.
So you can't go into this season when you think you have a chance for a special season and not think anything 44 and in is almost an automatic. And also, a 53-yarder doesn't need to be short. That's not an elite leg at a place that's trying to be an elite football school. Now, maybe he mishit it. We've seen him kick it further than that, but he was also short in the dome on a kind of like a 52-yard attempt, 54-yard attempt. So
but you guys say kicking is kicking. It might be a little different from FSU versus Florida State. When the LSU game, when you got
absolutely.
I agree. The stage is different, but whereas if you're a running back,
you don't have to worry about the speed of the game.
If you're an elite running back and you're 228 pounds running 4.4, you're going to mow over people in the Southern Conference, and there ain't too many guys catching you or getting the angle on you. But a kick is a kick. It's 48 yards. Can you make a 48-yarder? Now, agreed. The pressure is different when you're on a bigger
Fitzy
stage.
has lived that and come through the other side of it. So there is something to be said for that.
Yeah, I give him credit for it, no question. He changed his approach in the middle of the season to get back to where he was, and he still didn't feel comfortable. There's definitely a case to be made that he's salvageable, but man, he's been through the ringer. Man.
Yeah, it's good, but it's good to know that I personally think he'll probably be the starting kicker in Orlando. If he struggles at all, it's nice to have a guy in the bullpen you maybe could go to.
Who do you think will be the starter?
Fitzgerald.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, because I
don't
think
know, the other kids' numbers are pretty good.
Yeah, but again, like you said, it's Etsu.
Yeah.
And no offense to Etsu, but offense intended. Offense intended.
Let me explain something to you. Can you make the kick or not? The guy that will be kicking will have nothing to do with pedigree. It'll be about what they do in this camp.
He's never felt pressure that comes from
if you feel pressure, no matter if I've got to kick a 48-yard game-winning kick, and if I care at all about my teammates, my surrounding, and my time there, I feel the pressure of having to make that kick. I know that you're going to say, well, that's LSU across from you. But I think the intense amount of pressure you feel, a lot of it has to do with not wanting to let those guys down. And the fact there's 2 seconds left in a 3-point game.
Yeah.
That doesn't change. You feel that in high school.
We should look it up. Is that kid made any game-winning kick?
I don't know.
Well, you follow ETSU football. How
when you can find them. But
do you have the pass? Do you have the season pass for that
I'll
football?
go get on that and watch the condensed versions of all the games.
Yeah, for sure. They've got those.
But let me just say this though. Whoever is kicking best coming out of camp is starting that game. It will have nothing to do that Fitzy made a couple of kicks in some games.
You don't. You think I think it's more like they used to say about these heavyweight boxing fights. It's like if you want to take the job, you've got to absolutely win it. Like it can't be 50-50.
But that's when you're beating a champion.
Well, no, but
Not a guy that went 12 of 20 last year.
He's a
I love Ryan Fitzgerald, but you're not talking about Muhammad Ali.
He's a Cheez-It Bowl champion. He is the champion of the Cheez-It Bowl. He was on that podium with all those other guys.
Adam Vinatieri is not walking through that door.
I know. That's a good point.
Is not
Del Greco's definitely not walking.
But you think if it's even,
is not over there kicking field goals.
You think if it's even,
Quad Revenge isn't walking through that door.
He's not giving it to the new guy if they're even. I think the other guy has to absolutely outkick him to get the job.
Okay.
That's just what I think. They wouldn't do it if it's even.
Mark Mosley is not lining up a toe kick over there at
the
FSU,
toe is
buddy.
straight on.
That's right. Yeah. Why is it we know so many kickers? Good Lord, we knew them all. We
So
start getting into the Reggie Robies of the world with punting.
So Al Del Greco lived in Miami, and in the offseason, he was listed in
great
the phone
golfer,
book.
Del Greco,
Yeah.
one of the
Really
great
good. Yeah,
golfers of all time.
So this is the difference between the NFL today versus when we were kids. When we were kids, like in Miami, I'm sure it's the same in Tampa. Like in Miami, the Mark Duper and Clayton and those guys, Dwight Stevenson, they would go play basketball at the park.
Yeah.
Like you would see them around town.
I used to see Dwight Gooden all the time.
They were like part of the city.
See, where I lived in Atlanta on Jimmy Carter Boulevard, pro athletes knew not to go
Stay
there.
away. They had to
Stay away. Stay away.
But Al Del Greco was listed in the phone book. My buddy Howard Stein would call him every offseason and just talk. And Del Greco would just talk to him on the phone. Apparently, super nice guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Call Al. You got anything you want me to ask him? He'll pick up. He's great. That's hilarious. Yeah, no. So you never got to see like David Justice roll through your neighborhood. He did in Tampa.
I was going to say he was rolling through some
problem.
looking for other things.
He had no problem rolling through it.
Yeah, no. Jimmy Carter Boulevard
all the time.
would have been a place to be. Sure.
Yeah, good old David had no problem with it. He just didn't want the local flair in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah, 3 a.m. and some CD part of.
That's still one of my favorite excuses of all time. Like
when they got lost or something.
He said he got lost. He was asking somebody at 3 a.m. in a very famous part of Tampa for direction.
Hey, man. That was before Waze.
That's
before
true.
MapQuest.
Yeah, it was before
How did
Google
I
Maps.
end up here in my Mercedes? This is terrible. What has happened here?
Yeah. Tampa's been the downfall of many a
man,
many an athlete
Oh,
and many a man.
If you got some tendencies that you're trying to keep away, don't go to Tampa.
Yeah, they all come out. They come boiling to the
They
surface.
got everything you've ever wanted in Tampa, buddy. That could be found rather easily too, and people pick up on it quickly. Like, oh, that's how you like to get down. They offer it up. You're like, oh no, I'm trying to avoid all of this. You can play the music, Matthew. We got nothing left here. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Headliner questions, as always. Hang in.
Orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Slow burn.
Slow burn.
Just finish the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, everybody, the perfect fireplace makes your house a home. How's your fireplace looking? Not too well? Hearth and Patio can help you with that. Actually, Hearth and Patio can help you with anything fire. Give my friends a call at Hearth and Patio. If you need new fireplace upgrade, fireplace repair, you need custom outdoor kitchen, grills, or an amazing fireplace for your backyard. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth Patio Tallahassee. They keep the home fires burning.
Hi, I'm Stephanie. Some people call me Paul because I work at Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Everyone that works here will proudly answer to the name Paul. One of the things I love about my job is that I get to help people fix their problems every day. If you have pests in your home, and you're like 99.9% of the people I deal with, you want them gone, not tomorrow, but right now. It always puts a smile on my face to hear the reaction of a customer when I tell them we'll have someone out there in a couple of hours. At Paul's, I get the privilege of making your environment safer and more healthy for your family and pets. And because Paul's provides a same-day service guarantee with minimal wait, we get to begin the process right after I receive the call.
If you live in Leon County and call us by noon, Paul's Pest Control will be out by 5, guaranteed. We're a local company, and it's our mission to help keep Tallahassee area customers comfortable and free from the problems that pests bring. And we do so with treatments that are friendly to our environment for the elimination of termites and any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. We've all heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks. So why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 227001.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk. Latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
The Honda Classic in Palm Beach Gardens. Soon JM, the 9-1 favorite. Shane Lowry, 14-1. Matt Kuchar, 25-1. The Pala Casino 400 Yacht Club Speedway. Kyle Larson, plus 650. Chase Elliott, 7-1. Denny Hamlin, 8-1. Tampa Bay Lightning, a $5.20 favorite at home against Anaheim, plus 440. 6.5 over the total. To win 100 in a Tampa Bay Lightning win, you'd have to bet $520. College baseball today, 25th ranked Florida State, a $2.70 favorite at Jacksonville, plus 215. Florida, $2.40 favorite over South Florida, plus 195. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at VSIN.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Every piece of land has a story. The Upshaw's right there is with a John Deere 1 Series tractor they call Penny. And this is Shaw.
Shaw stands for skilled hands at work.
When he's not cutting grass, he's cutting hair.
So every person is different from hair type to head shape. And I feel like it's the same way in a yard.
From front loader to backhoe, the Upshaws have the tools to DIY all day long. Run with us on a 1 Series tractor and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
Hi, everybody. It's Ed Dean, Florida's #1 statewide radio talk show, now in Tallahassee afternoon drive from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Yes, highly entertaining, fast-paced, never boring. We always give you the story behind the story when you catch the Ed Dean radio show. And we are ready to go. Tallahassee daily, 5 to 6 p.m. It's the Ed Dean radio show on Real Talk 93.3 FM WVFT.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
It's time for Seminole Headlines, featuring Warchant.com's Jeff Cameron, managing editor Ira Schofel, and senior writer Corey Clark. Your weekly dose of all things FSU, pistols, and pies starts right now. Here's Jeff Cameron.
Hour number 2, headliner questions on the way. Appreciate you joining us as always on Seminole Headlines. I'm Jeff, that's Ira and Corey. And of course, I should note, Birch Orthodontics on board as always, supporting the show. I saw Dr. Birch last week. It was always a pleasure to see her as they did a checkup, just a standard operating procedure over there, free checkups. Once you're on board and you're in the mix there, they want to make sure things are going well. And I'm happy to report, even though I've said publicly on the show, much to the chagrin of my wife, that my youngest son's teeth are like that of an alien.
Right.
They're jacked up. I make fun of them all the time.
Are you seeing progress?
Real progress. She came over and reported to me, and she was almost in tears. We saved him. We're not gonna have to pull any more teeth. Those ones that are up by his eyeballs are coming down now into the slot.
There you go, Clark.
Yeah, he was relieved. I kept, because I'm a bit of a tough love father. You know, we're driving in. I said, we're probably gonna find out that we got to pull 5 or 6 more teeth for you, buddy. It's gonna be a tough day. I didn't know that. I just said it to mess with him, just to see what he would do. He was tough. He was steely-eyed. He's like, if that's what they got to do. That's
good that he can see the long game and what it's for.
That's how you build him up.
Yeah.
Build him up right there. You know, he knew. But alas, she saved it. Doesn't have to do that. He's doing great. My other son, despite what I said in the past, has worn the retainer religiously, and things are working out well there too.
So. I like that. The Camerons it's been a reclamation project for Dr. Birch. She's done a great job with the Cameron family.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, Molly's situation. She had a tough case as well. They wanted to do jaw surgery on her. The first orthodontist we went to. And Dr. Birch was like, I think we might be able to make it happen. Had to pull a couple teeth, move some things around, got it done, and she didn't have to have jaw surgery, which was awesome. The idea of your kid having jaw surgery at 11 or 12 is not real appealing. I know other kids maybe go through worse things, but thankfully we didn't have to do that. Dr. Birch saved the day. She should wear a cape. Could we do that maybe?
It might be a bit
garnet
much.
cape.
A little boastful. She's not boastful.
Hey.
That's not who
it's not
she
bragging
is.
if you're telling the truth.
Although I saw a glimpse of the competitiveness and the pride as we were leaving, and I thanked her. I thought, I'd give, rendered copious amounts of love for all the work she had done. She's like, you're welcome. Jeez, Dr. Birch. I thought I was profuse with the praise, but apparently not.
BirchOrthodontics.com is the website, BURCH orthodontics.com. I'm not going to spell orthodontics for you because I'll probably mess it up, but go check it out. They have free consultations. They do tremendous work. And tell them Seminole Headlines sent you.
Yeah, please do.
And maybe bring her a cape. Because I
don't think she'll wear a cape.
I mean, it wouldn't
Why
be the
not?
worst thing.
Why not?
It wouldn't.
I'd wear a cape. If somebody got me a cape, I'd wear it.
A tasteful cape.
Obviously, it's tasteful.
Not like plastic, not like from a Halloween costume.
Nate asks if you're facing Kate Sandercock 10 times.
Cat.
I said cat, didn't I?
No, you said
Oh,
Kate.
he
It's
wrote.
fine.
Okay, my bad.
Fine.
Yeah, of course, cat. Yeah. By the way, I watched our 2-1 loss to Alabama.
There you go. So that was the one thing you watched? Yeah, me too.
I watched it. I was very, very frustrated. She's one mistake away from dueling match for match, pitch for pitch.
And it's weird, man. Like I don't know why. Like I'll feel some kind of way about the opposing pitcher, like the Montana Fouts girl. Like
you were
wanting it
almost hostile.
A little bit.
You got to check yourself. Maybe you're the father of daughters.
She seems like she talks a little smack,
but she backs it up.
But you also don't know that maybe she's hearing it from the other dugout, and
Probably
that's why.
not.
So it's probably not. But you never know.
Wouldn't do that.
You never know.
But anyway,
Anyhow,
that was
a good game. It was a real good game.
0.
Anyhow,
The answer to this question, I know where it's going.
What was the
0.
question?
Yeah, we're not getting hit.
Yeah. Out of 10 at bats
10
against Cat Sandercock, how many times would you What is it? Put a ball in play or actually get a hit?
So it was actually hits or strikeouts. It's strikeouts.
It's all strikeouts.
We'd have more strikeouts than hits. If we had a non-strikeout, it'd be impressive.
Aslan is convinced that he could put the ball in
Let me
play.
tell you
He's
something.
wrong.
I told him he was wrong. I said maybe if you're bunting, you can get a bunt down.
He'd have to be brave to bunt. They throw hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this.
And they're like 2 feet away.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I made the mistake. Well, listen, some 20 years ago on the air, and I was a much younger man. I was like, man, I'm going upper tank off these girls. That ball is the size of
parking deck.
It's a soccer
It's going to be a
ball.
parking deck shot.
Yeah.
But it's not as big as it used to be.
No, but it used to be huge, and they didn't pitch this fast. So 20 years ago, let's go. I'm in the box. I actually said it on the air and challenged them. Come on, bring me over. Let's go. I would never do that now. A, don't have the reflexes I once had. B, they've come a long way. These girls throw hard. I have no shot. Hitting a rise ball. Corey, we never saw a rise ball.
That's the thing is that it doesn't come the
I'm
same way
going
a
to
baseball.
swing it where I see it. It's going to be over my shoulders and I'm swinging at a low pitch.
A rise ball. What are we doing here?
Oh, and they've got
ridiculous.
like 17 different pitches.
Yeah, a lot of versions of the same pitch that with different spins. No chance.
And even if I saw 100 pitches, I don't think my reflexes and my swing would be quick enough to even put a ball in play. I think a bunt, just having the bunt
I'm
out,
not bunting anything.
you can just catch it with the bat. You'd have at least a
damn
chance
pride
there.
to swing the bat.
And I got
Corey,
the speed that I
You don't
have.
think Corey's squaring all the way around?
No, I don't think
staring it down.
Oh no, I'm bunting for a hit. I'm getting in the left-handed batter's
he's
box
doing
and
some piddly nonsense.
yeah. Corey, I'm bailing out.
Yeah, he's got
Absolutely.
no chance. He's
I'm
not
throwing
walking down in there with it coming out of his face.
I'm
the way you're
throwing the
supposed
bat
to.
at it.
They used to. They would invite the media to come over.
Yeah,
and
back in the
I'd
day.
never. Yeah, no thanks.
I'd be like, come on, let's go. I'd talk smack, ruin them for the year.
Yeah,
let's go. Get you some of this. I never thought I would have to ask this cup to cup show. Will Coach Hamilton be here next year? He also wants to know which players we would like back, 100% back. Corin, I want Corin back. I like him.
Yeah. I want Chandler Jackson back.
Yeah.
I want Baba back. And
Cleveland would be nice.
Cleveland would
Probably
be
not
nice.
happening.
I don't know where in this day and age, if you can't shoot at a 6'7".
I don't know, man. People were saying that about some of the other guys that were here and that have gone on to play in the NBA.
Yeah, but I don't think Cleveland has the Terrence Mann type of game. I think Trent Forrest is in the NBA, but he wasn't drafted and doesn't play. I think Matt Cleveland needs, you're going to be a 6'7" wing that's leaving school early. Like maybe he leaves Florida State and goes somewhere else, but I don't foresee him being a first round draft
pick. Can
pick.
I just do this really quick? I've been so fortunate, really lucky. Terrence Mann is
what a great story.
Well, it's just an awesome story, but also my son's favorite team is the Clippers. I bought him the NBA League Pass so he
That's
can
natural.
watch
It's
Clippers
normal, right? A Tallahassee kid being a Clippers
Well,
fan.
no, he's rooting for Terrence Mann.
Okay,
he followed
good.
Terrence
Nice.
Mann. He got to meet Terrence Mann when he was here.
Yeah.
And it was his favorite player by far. Bryce got a good basketball IQ. Early on, he pointed out all the things that guy did, winning plays wise. He'd be like, that guy, so when we watch the Clippers, of course, the story is Kawhi or whatever, but he'll watch and he'll go, man, your team is just better if Terrence Mann is starting for you.
Yeah.
And he's
absolutely.
He's not wrong.
He does not care to score.
everything.
You need those egoless players in
But
such
he
an
will
ego-driven
score if you
sport.
need him to
Absolutely.
in a given night. He'll drop 20.
He had
Yes.
26 the other game.
Dude, it's a
What
great,
do y'all
great
think
story.
about Darren Green?
I mean, I think he could come back and be a role player.
He could be your PJ Savoy.
Yeah.
Playing him 33 minutes is not ideal. It's not
Correct.
what you want to do.
Correct. Yeah.
But playing him 15 minutes, and if he's hitting, playing him 24.
There's most of that locker room I want replaced.
Glenn in the chat says he wants Bernard James back, which seems fair.
That's not a bad idea.
Make that happen.
I'll take Tony Douglas back. Like today, Tony Douglas, like 37-year-old Tony Douglas.
Back to the question from the Cup to Cup show, guys that follow us on Twitter. They're good guys. They have their own comedy podcast.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, yeah, I think Leonard Hamilton will come back as long as he and Michael Alford, the administration, can talk about what's going to be different. They can't just run this back. This isn't a team. It's just a young team that, when they get a year older, they took their lumps and they're going to be fine. There needs to be a plan about why next year's going to be completely different. And then I think out of respect to Leonard Hamilton, I would give him the chance to do that. But I don't know how those conversations are going to go. So I can't say, you said you're not so sure he's going to be back. I can't say I'm 100% sure he's going to be back. I think he wants to be back. I think he'll make changes. So I think it could happen. But I think a lot of it's going to depend on those conversations.
We want to compare it to the Bowden situation, and they're
not
similar
the
in
same.
ways, but
Well.
not in the biggest way. Bobby Bowden won so much stuff here. He created the Florida State football program almost. Leonard Hamilton he does not get a ticket just to coach in perpetuity. This isn't how this works.
But his last 5 years have not been like Coach Bowden's last
correct
7 or 8 years.
Right. They were 3 years ago. They were a national championship contender. 2 years ago, they were in the Sweet 16.
They won 29 games.
He has not been doing this for
a lost decade. No,
yes,
right,
correct. Yeah. So he deserves. I genuinely think he deserves to not go out on his own though, but to not just have one season. Okay, we're done. I don't think it's 2 seasons now, but last season was there. Those injuries
but
were
Corey,
crazy.
you know how this works. When it's 2, nobody cares. If
right.
it gets to be 3, even if there's viable reasons, you're like,
but then the question becomes, what is better for Florida State basketball in 2026? Is it for Leonard Hamilton to coach here for the end of this year, next year, and the year after that? Or do you try to come up with an exit strategy to get some new blood in here before 2026? Because the hole could get deeper. I don't think it will, because the portal fills up those holes much quicker, but you've got to see some serious. I mean, you can't do this again. They're about to set the school record for losses in a year.
I agree, but I'm saying I don't think the path to getting back to decent is not that hard to come up with. You can come up in today's college basketball with the portal. You can get to that path pretty quickly, but I don't think it's as simple as just changing some personnel. I think they have to look at the whole program.
And
it's not as cut and dry. It's not as cut and dry though as what you're saying. I get what you're saying that if you're only focused about what's going to get you better in 2026, then maybe it makes more sense to start over. But there's also some risk there, and you know what Leonard Hamilton is. You know what he does. I think if you can salvage it and turn it around a little bit, then that puts you in position.
It's an interesting question for Leonard to have to answer. You know, I think Michael give him the chance to sit down and think about this long and hard. I mean, Leonard's got some really tough choices to make, including decisions that directly affect, his life on a day-to-day basis. Like how much does he have to give? I mean, this is going to take a lot. You can get it turned around to respectable. Yeah. But Leonard, at the end of a career, which just 2 years ago, as you noted, was this close to playing for probably going to the Final Four. Is that about to happen when they replace guys in the portal? I don't think so. I mean, we don't think he can do that in a year. So that means he's going to have to want to be here 2 more years or 3 more years or 4 more years. It's a tough decision. I don't know the answer to that question. He might have the goal.
But that's the thing. I don't know that the goal anymore could be. I think the goal 2 years ago was to try to get to a Final Four.
Yeah.
And if you win a national championship, great, but just get to the Final Four. I don't know that that's the goal in the short term. I think the goal is to give him a chance to turn the program back to where it was, at least for most of his time.
The problem with that is
that
you just don't want to go out like this.
You don't want to go out as an embarrassment, man. And this is an embarrassing
Nobody
season.
would think of him that way either. But
this season is embarrassing.
I would just say this, and then we'll put a ribbon on it and move on. I think it's interesting because you can come at it from a lot of different angles. You can come at it from what we want Leonard Hamilton to have happen, what we think he deserves. We could come at it from Michael Alford's standpoint, which is he looking to make a splash hire? Is there a guy out there that's available that could be that splash hire and get this thing turned around pretty quickly due to reputation and what he would bring in the portal if you hired him? If not, who is a viable replacement for Leonard Hamilton 2 and 3 years down the road? Do you have that worked out? There's just so many. Hamilton has to ask himself about his staff and how many of those guys are coming back. Does he make a change on his staff again? He might have to. It's nuanced and it's not cut and dry. That's for sure.
You know, it's not nuanced. JB Noles 76 is asking about the shirts, Corey, and I'm going to answer his question, but why don't you show off the shirt, buddy?
There you go. I'm showing it off right now. I don't have to stand up, do I?
No, you're good.
And also, there's nothing wrong with wearing a shirt of the show you're on, right?
Not when I tell you to.
Well, you did tell me to do it.
But also, there's 3 of us. It's not a singular thing. Right. Like, I don't wear a Jeff Cameron Show shirt on the Jeff Cameron
Have
show.
You ever?
No. But if there were 3 of us,
I'm a big fan of Seminole Headlines.
Exactly.
I'm the biggest fan.
But
and on the back, should I turn around?
Sure. While I'm answering this question, you can be turning around, modeling for the YouTube audience.
Yeah,
there you
I like
go. Stand up a little bit. But JB,
there it is. That's good. That's good right there. We can see it.
JB asked if the Pony Express is delivering the shirts. No, man. I put on the site. It said it was an advanced sale. We didn't know if we would sell 3 shirts or 300 shirts. It's somewhere in between.
I was going to say it's 3,000.
So we ordered the shirts after you guys. The first batch of people bought them. They were ordered last week. We should have them this week, and we'll be sending them out. You guys should have them pretty soon.
They're snug. I like
but
the
it was
material,
an advanced
Ira.
sale.
Like
that was the deal. Yeah, they're good quality, man.
Burke writes.
And it's SeminoleHeadlines.myshopify.com if you want to buy a shirt.
There it is. Burke writes, from the baseball weekend, what 3 things did you see that were encouraging and something that might be concerning? I'm going to guess that you guys are going to say that
we know the concern.
the depth of pitching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and so what were the three things that you were really positive about? Fewer strikeouts. They
Yep.
put the ball in play, right? Yeah.
Cam Smith
Cam
has
Smith.
the makings of being a superstar. That
Yeah.
just they haven't had many guys like him that are 6'3", 220 that move like that and field like that.
I'll also be honest. I didn't pay that close of attention. I'll be honest to the baseball team last season.
Why is that?
Was not really into it. Just
Okay,
wasn't
that's
feeling
weird.
it.
They were tough watch.
It didn't seem like you were alone. in that.
Jordan, carry on, man. He's special, man. Him and Cam Smith together, those dudes are pretty special.
That's a good left side of the infield too. He had an error, maybe 2 errors on Friday, but one shouldn't have been his. But he's really special with the glove, and yeah, he's a pretty decent hitter. He's a 300-ish hitter. And Colton Vincent turned into Buster Posey while you were in Tampa.
That made me laugh, especially since I had just dogged him.
The
But
tough
that's
love come through.
Yeah.
It did come through. I'm very proud of that. I'm going to sneeze now. You guys talk amongst each other.
One other thing.
Oh man, that was a rip roar.
Recoil.
Man, the glass shook.
Director Matthews got his hazard play for sitting over there.
Really, guys, hang tough.
But no, the other thing that I thought was cool was those two guys that are not being starters that probably want to be starters. Wyatt Crowell and Connor Whitaker could be starters. And they, there's a lot of people who feel like they maybe should be starters. But I think the way that weekend played out was exactly what Link Jarrett wanted. Corey asked Link about that on Sunday. If you start those guys and it doesn't go well, where do you go from there? Whereas if you start Montgomery and Baumeister and I guess the freshman, Jamie Arnold, and if things don't go well, you can go to guys that are proven and can handle that situation. So I think he's doing the right thing, but I give those kids credit, especially Crowell, because man, he's a big time pitcher and he's accepting that role, and he was lights out. And I didn't think he seemed thrilled about it when we talked to him last week.
He
watched that video. He didn't seem like he was overjoyed about the role, but he came in, handled his business, and was lights out.
Truth of the matter is they'll extend further and further in terms of the number of pitches, and he may end up in the rotation. I think long term that seems likely to me. But also
for where they are right now.
Right. And the game has changed so dramatically. I think we get stuck sometimes mired in traditional roles. Even Major League Baseball, that's changing. I mean, guys that use pitchers in high leverage situations, guys that can miss bats. It could be, 3-2 in the fifth inning with the bases loaded and one out. You're bringing a guy in now that may have been in the past your designated closer. The game has changed. I'm glad it's changed because I used to scream at the TV all the time, like, this is the inning.
Yeah.
You got to get out of this inning.
Yeah, save Kimbrel for the ninth when you're down by 5.
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good. You got to get out of this inning. So I think guys are more accepting at times. They may not like it, but they understand that if they can throw, if they've got stuff, and they're going to build on their stamina, the league will find them. They'll see a kid who's like, oh, well, he didn't start. Yeah, but he averaged 4 to 5 innings a game. He was fine. He got outs, so
Baumeister looked, I thought, really good the first 4 innings. He comes out, I think it was a walk and a hit batter, so they pull him. When Montgomery came out, did you have a feeling that he was losing it at all? Was he losing his command, or was it just, do you feel like they just made the change just because he had pitched?
No, it kind of seemed like it was almost preordained. He had thrown some pitches, but it seemed like they maybe even had a plan, like, okay, this is when he's coming out of the game.
Because that would be my only concern is, can those guys give you 6 innings?
Probably not, but if you can get 5 out of them, and then Crowell's giving you 3, and Whitaker's giving you 3, well, there you go. You're at the 9th inning, maybe 4.
Final question to ask before we take a quick break, just because it pertains to something we were just talking about, and it's a fair question. Lots of people have emailed, and I've seen some stuff on the boards. Ryan writes, hey, guys, if Alfred did decide to move on after this season, do you think he would investigate bringing in Chris Beard now that no charges are being filed? You saw all that was dropped. And
I don't know, man.
I know. It feels dirty.
I mean, whether or not charges are dropped, if he hit his fiance,
well, we don't.
If he did, then man, that's a
if he did, there's no chance I'd bring him in. If he didn't, that's a good hire.
I don't think he hit her. I don't think he hit her. He choked her.
Oh, okay.
Oh, in that case, bring him in. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment. So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. We've all heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks. So why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 22700146.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
You can save hundreds of dollars on your property taxes.
Did you buy a home in Leon County last year? Then you may qualify for homestead exemption. Need to file? It's easy. Visit leonpa.org and click e-file. Mail your application or come by our office on South Calhoun Street. We'll be open extended hours for filing. The deadline to save on your property taxes is March 1st. Visit leonpa.org or call 850-606-6200.
If you think you can't afford a new hot tub, think again. The prices at Pinch A Penny will have you pinching yourself in the arm just to make sure you're not dreaming. Ow! 12,000 square feet of the best hot tubs and best prices. Visit Pinch A Penny on Greer Street off Capitol Circle Northeast today.
Hey everybody, the perfect fireplace makes your house a home. How's your fireplace looking? Not too well? Hearth and Patio can help you with that. Actually, Hearth and Patio can help you with anything fire. Give my friends a call at Hearth and Patio. If you need new fireplace upgrade, fireplace repair, you need custom outdoor kitchen, grills, or an amazing fireplace for your backyard. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth Patio Tallahassee. They keep the home fires burning.
My man Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears is what you're saying.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Keep it rolling, and before we do, just in case, you never know. Obviously, Timmy, you could be being sarcastic. Clearly, I was. On to the questions. We've got more on that. People are worried about Coach. I get it. You should be.
Yeah, man.
We love Coach Hamilton.
You're setting records, and this is not in the good records. And it's not that long ago. They were awesome. And
That's
then
what's
they've fallen
heartbreaking.
to this. Yeah.
Jason writes, what are the chances football, baseball, softball, and soccer each play for a national title in the next 5 years?
Baseball, softball, football, and what?
Soccer.
Oh, I think there's a decent chance.
That's not a terrible. Now, are you talking about getting to the College World Series?
I was going to say, how about we do like College Cup stuff? Like
or the playoff. Or the
you get to the playoff, you get to the College Cup, you get to the Final Four, not the Final Four, the College World Series, both of them.
And if we're going by that, who's most likely and who's least likely?
Soccer is most likely.
Yeah, pretty consistently. Baseball softball's really good. They'll get out to the College Cup.
In the next 5 years, if you had to pick the next 5 years who's least likely, it's probably football just because I feel like there's more. That's just
especially
harder.
if we're talking about getting to the national championship game in their case. Just getting to a 12-team playoff.
That's
I
for
think they're maybe the second most likely in the next 5 years to get to at least to get an invite to one of them.
Well, I think the fun part of this, to Ira's point, is that if we're just talking about getting into the tournament where you have a chance
Getting
to play.
into the final part
Yeah.
of the tournament.
So if it's a playoff,
the semis.
Florida State, yes, in the next 5 years. Florida State baseball to the College World Series, yes.
Could be this year, gang.
Yeah. Softball, yes. Still have an option. Soccer, yes. That's just awesome.
Yeah. Good place to be.
Yeah, it's a really good place to be. Obviously, the person excluded men's basketball, which is not a good place to be.
And women's basketball.
Which, by the way,
Latson, man,
you never know. You could go on a run.
You think if Sanaya Latson comes back, which we assume she will, and the reason I say that is just because in the world of the portal, it could be attractive for other schools to come after her.
You think?
But
you think some other schools might be interested?
Like, do you think other players in women's basketball are sitting there going, man, I want to play with her?
I hope. You hope, right? Like, she makes you nationally relevant. So if you're at a school where you're averaging, I don't know, you're a really good player, but at a school that isn't maybe in a bigger conference, you could come play and be a star or next to a star of Sanaya Latson. But the beauty of her is she's not selfish. She's not out there shooting 30 times a game, man. So she really is a good teammate. She just happens to be awesome.
It's a fun question to read here. It strikes me as absurd. Maybe it's not. Squiggly writes, if the loftiest of expectations are met for the 2023 season, Heisman and national championship, where does Jordan Travis sit on the totem pole of FSU QBs?
It's not absurd.
If I say to you before the season
national championship
that Florida State's going to win the national championship and Jordan Travis is going to win the Heisman Trophy, that doesn't strike you as a bit much?
I mean, it's as an expectation, sure, but I don't think it's absurd. I mean, look at college football. I mean, if Georgia obviously would be a huge task to overcome, and Alabama's probably going to be right there.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's out of the realm to think. I mean,
how about if he wins the Heisman and they
who got
finish
in the national
fifth?
championship game?
If he wins a Heisman Trophy and the national championship, I think he vaults into third behind Jameis.
The other ones that have done it?
Behind Jameis and Charlie and maybe ahead of Winky. Because of the program he joined.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're going
to do it that way, he could move all the way to one.
He could go to one.
I mean,
if you really like, it's easy to say it now. Oh, he wouldn't be ahead of Charlie and Jameis. Well, man, those guys joined. I know
fully functioning
really teams. Like the team that Jameis took over for just won an Orange Bowl.
Right.
The team that Charlie took over for had just lost a wide right for a national championship. He took over a team.
They had Charlie Ward at punter.
He was so bad. This program was so bad that they went and got a one-legged quarterback to compete with Jordan Travis.
Right.
And then he comes out and wins a Heisman 3 years later.
Now, that story would be insane. It'd be one of the best stories.
I think it puts him at the top. I think it might put him at the top.
In that sense.
Not that he's the best player they ever had,
right.
But what he did, where he would rank in Florida State fan base.
I wouldn't put money on either one of those happening.
Correct.
But I put money on worse propositions.
I would put a lot of money.
Oh, really?
I'd put a lot of.
I went to the horse track.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I bet a lot of bad horses.
Yeah.
I'd put a lot of money that's not going to happen. Like if I mean, obviously, I take the.
Well, you'd have to put a lot. You're not getting great odds.
The juice would be minus 10,000 or something. But yeah, it would be amazing if it happened, and I would sit back in awe and celebrate it like everybody else. But
it would be incredible. I mean, just what he is now. What he thought of now.
Look, if he goes to New York and this team makes a playoff with a 14 playoff,
that's awesome.
He's in that. He's up with those guys anyway.
I think he's in the. He joins the quartet. He's on the Mount Rushmore.
I think what I'm getting at, and maybe it's some pump your brakes sort of feeling that I have, like when I hear questions like that, I tend to think of how many people, what percentage of the fan base thinks that's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't even think the questioner thinks it's reasonable.
Right.
He's the loftiest of expectations.
I mean, I hope that this fan base isn't sitting around thinking that there is like a 5% chance that happens. It's not. It's not going to happen.
It's a 5% chance.
I don't think there's a 5% chance that's going to happen.
Well, that's a crazy thing to prove.
He wins.
That's crazy to prove or disprove.
That he wins the Heisman and they win the national championship next year.
I'd say if he's winning the Heisman, they're very much in contention for the national championship. Probably that's the only way he'd have a shot. So they're in the playoff if he's winning the Heisman, in my opinion.
It'd be awesome.
So then he's got to beat two good teams. Jordan Travis has been doing that his whole life. No, I mean, I think 5%, 15%, whatever it is.
15%. I'm going 15.
All right.
12%.
I mean, Stetson Bennett got invited to New York.
Chris writes, everything in.
Let me ask you this. 3 years ago, what would you have gotten the odds for Stetson Bennett winning 2 national championships as starting quarterback and being invited to being a Heisman finalist?
I didn't think he'd be a starting quarterback.
That would be less than zero. That'd be 0%. So Jordan Travis got better odds than that.
They also fielded the greatest defense ever assembled.
Not this year.
No, last year.
I know
last
this year though.
They kind of coasted on.
My man got robbed from the Heisman. He got robbed out of the Heisman. I voted for you, Stetson.
Stop it.
I did not.
Chris writes, everything ends poorly, or else it wouldn't end. I wish that axiom didn't float around in my head so much when I watch FSU men's basketball. Well, all right. No, listen, it's not just like at the end of Bobby, but this part of it is the same. At the end of Bobby Bowden's career, we knew at some point, and now we're arguing about whether this is the point, this was not going to get turned around. Now, there were people who were mad at me because I proclaimed that point to be early 2000s. Some needed to wait till 2007, 6 before they realized.
You said it in the third quarter against Virginia Tech.
No,
they can't stop Michael Vick.
I was at that game celebrating away. I said in 2002.
Two things I would say, though. Number one is Bobby Bowden was unwilling to make changes. That was, I mean.
No, you remember he fired Jimmy Higgins and brought in Mark McHale.
That he was not willing to make the changes that needed to be made to overhaul the program. We don't know if Leonard Hamilton would be. That's one thing. The other thing is Coach Bowden and Mike Martin Sr. both got some nice going away presents. That Gator Bowl was a fun day. It was a great experience. Thanks to Bill Stewart. Shout out to you, big guy.
Yeah.
Not running
the ball the rest of the game.
Is he dead?
Oh, yeah, he died.
When did Bill Stewart die?
Long time ago.
Those West Virginia fans had to celebrate.
But
they were not happy with him.
He had already been fired.
Yeah.
But and then Mike Martin got to go to Omaha. So I mean, like it didn't end terribly for them. It wasn't as good as it was.
Yeah, he went to Omaha. Bowden got to go out on top in the
Gator Bowl.
Gator Bowl.
Well, I mean, he got to be hoisted.
Team.
I mean, he got to be hoisted on some shoulders. Like, what are they going to do for Leonard? What do you do for him? If this was the end? His last game is going to be a 25-point loss at home to North Carolina.
Or
not a good North Carolina team.
In the ACC tournament.
Sorry, his last home game will be a 20. The last time he coaches in front of these people will be a 25-point home loss to North Carolina to break the school record for losses in a season.
That's a toughie. You hate that to be the case. I don't think it erases, obviously, a wonderful legacy here, and I would find a way to honor that. I don't know if that's a banner or a statue or a naming of a floor or a street or whatever the hell it is, but you'd have to do something, I think. Tom writes, hypothetical, if UGA and Bama backed out of the home and homes with FSU, what teams outside of the SEC would you like to replace them with?
Real quick, going back to the Hamilton thing, because Corey and I were talking about this at the break of the Chris Beard situation. One more thing I want to point out about Leonard, and it probably doesn't matter. I get it. It's all about wins and losses. But the fact that you had a head coach that for 20 years kept this program squeaky clean and graduated
in a sport that's anything but.
Is one of the most disgusting sports you'll ever come across.
Hence Chris Beard.
Look at what's going on in this sport around the country. You got one team had to cancel their season because one of their players killed somebody.
The Alabama stuff going on right now.
It just turns out their star player brought the gun that the other kid supplied to get somebody killed. I mean, I'm just saying that part shouldldn't be forgotten. When you're looking at replacements,
champions of basketball were deeply investigated, found to be guilty by the FBI.
so that shouldn't just be dismissed.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't. And we were talking about that. Imagine going from, because there will be some. Chris Beard will get a job again somewhere.
Oh, hell, now that the charges have been dropped, of course.
Imagine going from Leonard Hamilton to that guy. I know wins matter, but golly, man,
no, it would hurt. Listen,
that would really be kind of a gross step.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
But yeah,
and I hope. But you're right. It's fine. You can't say it enough. But I hope that most of this.
I think they do. I think they. But also at the same time, you breaking school records for losses in a year isn't something you just. Being a good person doesn't overcome that. You want to do both.
Can we ask some of the baseball?
Well, we didn't answer the last question you just asked,
which was what?
Ira just completely went back to Leonard. It was the who do you want to replace Bama and Georgia on the schedule?
Well, they're still on the schedule, but if
that game gets canceled. If those games get canceled.
Well, the challenge is this is all going to get kind of limited if these conferences, if the Big Ten and the SEC aren't going to really play everybody else, which is a possibility, then
what about
possibilities are going to get limited.
What about Washington?
Yeah, I love the idea of home and home with Washington. I would do that all day long. Or Oregon. I would love that.
Okay, well there you go. We just did it.
So that's one.
Probably somebody on the West Coast, I guess. Yeah.
So who else would you want? Anybody out of the Big 12?
What about App State? You could do like Miami and do a home and home with App State.
We're not going up there to Boone, North Carolina, which I like Boone. I had a good time at Boone, but I'm just saying we're not going.
Get Dilly on the schedule?
Oh, Arizona State action. You haven't been down there in 25 years. You haven't been over there.
Man, it's been a minute. I drove all the way out there from Tallahassee in a truck to Tempe.
To watch Marcus Outzen play quarterback.
That one still
Well, more point. Watch Mark Rick coordinate. That was not his shining moment.
Tough day.
407 Noles also are now Colorado. I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
Just a hunch.
Tom wrote that he wanted it to be Colorado, and the other he wanted it to be Penn State.
Yeah, but by
That'd
the
be
time
fun.
Colorado got you got to that game, Deion's not going to be there.
Probably.
So it would lose. It would lose
one way or the other.
It's tough. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio. Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Your local news now.
State senators took the first look at a bill that would allow Floridians to carry concealed firearms without obtaining a permit. The bill also includes changes to the state's school safety laws. With gun laws taking the center stage, university students from both Florida State and Florida A&M are planning a protest outside the Capitol against the constitutional carry bill. Lawmakers who have experienced mass shootings in their districts will also be speaking at the rally as well. A Tallahassee woman accused in a 2018 kidnapping and murder has entered a plea and will spend 10 years in prison. Calandra Cooper entered a no-contest plea in charges of accessory to murder in connection with the 2018 kidnapping and killing of 27-year-old Kelton Washington. Cooper and her boyfriend Christopher Rump were accused of kidnapping Washington from a Tallahassee motel, driving him to Gadsden County, and shooting him on the side of the road. Cooper testified against Rump last month. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a high of 80. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected again tonight, 63. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 78. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times Thursday with daytime highs approaching 83. 86 Friday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 80.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Hey, Matt.
Yes, Greg?
You know all the different ways that you can listen to Real Talk 93.3? There are several. So we've got realtalk93.com. You can go back and listen to all of our shows in the podcast section.
That's right. You can also listen on our app as well.
Search Real Talk 93.3 and look for the red microphone and download our app. Never go anywhere without us.
And of course, you can always listen right on the radio.
Well, they are listening.
Are they?
If they're hearing this commercial, then they're listening.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Seminole Headlines returns now. Head to YouTube and search for Warchant TV today to catch the show live or on demand. Now, here's Jeff Cameron, Ira Schofel, and Corey Clark.
Fun question here, because I think it would have greatly benefited Bobby Bowden and his teams over the course of that time. But the question reads, if the college football playoff existed during the Bowden era, how many more titles would he have won?
I would guess
5.
No, because that's saying that he wins all the ones he won. Like maybe they play Notre Dame in 93 and lose again.
That's true.
Something. I would say, I would give him, I think 92, they definitely win. The way
I think
they
they
were
would have
playing,
won in 97 after losing to Florida.
Yep, I do too. And then maybe, well, no, not 98. Yeah, no, I'd say 92 and 97, probably 89.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Best team in the country at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 88, they were pretty darn good at the end too.
The heartbreak of, well, the hard part about 98 is that, again, if Chris Winkie doesn't break his neck, they win the national title.
But they got to
away.
play. They got to play for the national.
I know, but they would have beat that Tennessee team by 40.
Yeah, but well, not that. They would have won the game.
They lost by 7, and they didn't have a quarterback.
I know.
Running around like idiots.
They had Pierre Warwick.
They didn't use him.
I know. Hey, no, first play of the game, they lined him up in the shotgun. They got a false start. First play of the game, never put him back in the shotgun.
Do it.
Threw him the ball one time. Had one catch. Best player in the country. Had 1 catch in the biggest game of the year.
Michael writes, Jeff, very recently on your wildly popular show, the first name you said you'd release on our basketball team is Caleb Mills.
Oh, you said that? You made that? Yeah. Oh, that's weird.
I said he'd be the first player.
I know, duh.
Yeah. Over the weekend, he just had his biggest game of the Seminole career.
Yep.
Hashtag tough love Cameron.
Well, yeah, like Colton Vincent.
I don't know, guys. I don't care to get into that, but he'd be gone regardless. He could average 40 and I'd cut him.
I was just thinking about this because you said it was a good question. I forgot about this last week. Somebody asked, like, what was a play outside of FSU that if you could have reversed, if you could, if we could go back.
Yeah.
And my guy Les had a good recommendation. He said that a good reversal play would have been the Texas 4th down play that beat Nebraska. Because if they don't get that, then
they win 96.
FSU plays in the
Absolutely.
sugar instead of Florida.
Yeah, they would have rolled Nebraska clearly because Texas did.
Yeah, that was frustrating, and the gift that was Spurrier's national championship.
Yeah,
that was the gift. Yeah,
but now they lost 1 game. They lost by 3 points at the road at the number 2 team in the country. So
gift
in this
national title,
in this day and age,
any other time
they're in
away.
the playoff. They're the number 2 seed in the playoff. But back then, yes, that was
You're done. You're out.
Should have been out.
Florida State misses a kick by a walk-on. Oh, sorry, season's over.
You're done.
We lost the number 1 team in the country on a missed field goal. Season's gone.
Cara writes, hey, guys. Jeff, this is a Seymour. Got it. Love the show. And by the way, I appreciate you doing that. Yes. Love the show. And thank you for the much-needed fun you all bring on Tuesdays, something I look forward to each week. Mine is baseball related. How excited are you all, for the upcoming series with TCU? And what is your early outlook for the season as a whole? I help run the Seminole Club of North Texas, and we will be out in full force this weekend.
There we go. Represent.
Specifically on Saturday, TCU was kind enough to make a promo code FSU for general admission. We hope to see anyone in Texas this weekend join us as we cheer on our Noles Section B Nation. Good job, Kara.
It's nice for TCU, too. That's cool that TCU did that.
Yeah. That is a series that I really regret I'm not going to. When I saw it pop up on the schedule, I was like, that is going to be phenomenal. What a cool series. TCU over the weekend just knocked off 2 really good SEC clubs, so this should be a great series. I am concerned about the series.
not entirely sure the Noles are ready for it.
You'd rather Shorter be coming to town,
but I mean, I'd like
Shorter.
I think it's good. I think this team, for them to be very successful, they're going to need these guys to believe they're better than maybe they are in certain spots. I think they're going to need confidence. I don't know that the second weekend of the year is going to give them a whole lot of confidence.
Maybe tonight in Jacksonville. You know, and speaking of that real quick, I saw somebody mention on the chat, it is cool listening to Link talk. I like listening to him to break down the games that were just played, but also like some weaknesses that his team had. And he talked about last year. He's like, this group, and I think he even said we, but he wasn't a part of we then. He's like, they didn't win on Sundays and they couldn't win on the road. So he's like, it was good to see us come out and at least win on a Sunday. Now we got to go see if we can go win games away from this place.
And if Matt Millar were here, he'd scream it from the mountaintop. I mean, this has been a bugaboo matchup. So
this is the great litmus test of every Florida State season is at JU, that first month of the season.
Damn it. Go beat them. Well, and by the way, the second part of that question was how excited are we? I think we are all very excited. And also, Corey, you wrote it in your column on warchant.com. The fans were excited. Over 5,000 people there. I think people have been re-energized. That happens sometimes with a fresh face. We don't have to get into all the reasons, but the point is, he's one of their own. He was an All-American here. He just performed really well out there at Notre Dame. He's exciting when you listen to him in an interview. I don't mean in tone or pace.
No,
but
he's definitely not there.
No, in what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying something of substance. It's interesting. I think people can kind of lock into that.
And Corey made a good point on the popular Wake Up War chant.
Yeah.
That his season opening weekend had crowds of over 5,000 all 3 games. And last year at Notre Dame, his season opening crowd was...
they took him a month to get to the season opener because of weather and the schedule. It was Clemson on a Friday night. They had 300 people.
And I remember that because I remember thinking, well, that's exactly why he would leave.
Yeah, 300
I remember people getting mad at me like, well, why would he leave a team that just went to the College World Series? Because nobody goes to their games and their facilities suck.
Yeah,
Plus, he has to listen to that dump of a town.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the number one.
South Bend is a dump. Their facilities suck. They don't care about baseball. They got to share it with like 5 other programs. It's freezing cold. And when you do play a big name team, nobody shows up.
Yeah.
Screw that. He shouldn't have been so nice as he left.
Yeah. He's like, I was here 2 years too long.
Spit on you.
Yeah.
This place is awful. Scott writes, good sirs, with the changes coming to the SEC and potential 9-game conference schedule, do you feel okay, well, people are worried about this thing. The Bama-Georgia series.
It's definitely a possibility,
And
right, Ira?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
yeah,
We need to get the
contract.
con.
And I
can we get
did.
the
Yeah, I
contract on that?
actually we do. I definitely have the Georgia contract. If they cancel, I think it's $2 million per game. So if Georgia canceled one of the games, if they canceled both the games, they would owe Florida State $4 million.
There
But then
we
Florida
go.
State would have to then turn around and buy somebody else probably, unless they got a home and home.
They should
But
put
it's hard to get home and home.
walking from this godforsaken conference.
Yeah.
Here's my $2 million.
Yeah, that's $4 million for the
guys.
grant of rights.
Yeah.
That cuts it down.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's going to be dicey. It's going to depend on what those.
So Alabama's
what
is
the
probably
SEC does.
similar.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
if
have
both
the
of those
number.
got canceled, you're probably talking about $8 million.
But then you probably have to turn around and you may have to buy somebody else if you can't
That's the
get a home and home.
That's the Eddie Murphy, Johnny Carson's wife. Now we have $2 million. 57 cents. Yeah, no, you got to try to do something. Just wanted to talk on the AD talk from last week. He apparently is putting his own stamp on this program, which I absolutely love, especially after the incompetency we've had at that position for years now. After last year, everyone thought Meat would be here another year, and he went back and got Link. No, not everybody thought that. I thought Meat was in trouble at the end of the year. We did talk
I think
about
if
that.
you'd have talked to us now, this time last year, we probably didn't think that was a possibility.
That is correct going into the season.
But
By
the way
season's
that season went,
when Auburn scored 105 runs in
Yes.
the first 4 innings of a meaningful game on
Yeah.
ESPN, we were like, well, this is
well,
this is
and
a problem.
also you had what was going on in South Bend.
Yes.
That changed the complexion. Like
Yeah.
if Sam Cassell right now I think Sam Cassell, like I don't think he'd come be a college coach, but if he expressed interest, like I would love to be a college basketball coach. I want to come back and I'm not going to be an NBA head coach for some reason. Let me go coach a college team. Or if Dennis Gates or somebody like that was like, I'll come back. I'm ready to come back. That changes the chemistry of what you're doing.
The dynamic.
A
Well,
little
that's
bit.
what-
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying before when the Beard stuff came up. We were like, well, listen, maybe not Beard, but if you knew you could go out and get a big name and time was of the essence, like the thing with Link was, like you better get him. Or he was going to go to Clemson.
Yeah.
So you had to go get him now.
He wasn't staying in that blank hole,
That
South Bend.
dump of a town.
Rick Pitino, he's out there.
So if Alfred was sitting,
saying.
And his kid probably.
Yeah, his kid will come with him. Yeah. A lot of restaurants in Tallahassee.
keep him out of the keep him out of the Italian restaurant.
A lot of restaurant tables in Tallahassee.
Everybody in Tallahassee, when they go into an Italian restaurant and see him, they're gonna be checking under the table. They're like,
"Is he down here?
What's going on? Who's under that table, Rick?"
Man, and that guy coached for like 3 years after that. Are you still coaching?
That's my point about that sport.
Yeah, it does.
Well, no. So
Dave Bliss, is he still alive?
Yeah.
Dave Bliss.
I don't think
Possibly.
he's coaching, is he?
Hey,
No, definitely not coaching.
Everybody knows Ralph Sampson, or not Ralph Sampson. What's his name?
Kelvin Sampson. At Houston. They're number 2 in the country.
47 jobs since post
Yeah.
busted. Yeah, no, I know. Anyhow, Sean's point in this question was that he thinks Hamilton will be done at the end of the year and that Alfred will want to make a splash hire. Well, that's fine. Everybody's got an opinion about that. But here's my question to you, too. Who's a splash hire?
Yeah, that's the problematic.
Who at FSU? Who would come to FSU that is a splash hire?
You don't at a place like Florida State. I don't think you get splash hires. I think the guys that would make a splash are
former players.
They're too big names to come to Florida State. They don't look
They don't
around,
even come to
man.
Florida
This
State,
doesn't.
right.
This
And
doesn't.
the ACC is falling on its face right now too.
Like Florida has so much more history than Florida State in basketball
because of those two
And-
titles. Yeah.
Well, and the money, but they've been to a couple other Final Fours, and they've got that money, and they went and got the guy from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Is that a splash hire? I mean,
no. And the hire before it
was Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, it wasn't,
That's what I'm saying, man.
No, who is the guy? It's not like the 80s and early 90s where these coaches were huge figures of the sport.
Well, and it was the same thing when Hamilton was in trouble during the stretch 10 years ago when they didn't make the tournament.
Right.
People are throwing out names. They were like, man, none of those names are legitimate. They're not coming here. So that is a concern.
That's why I think it would be hard, even if Alfred, let's presume that Sean is right for a second, even if Alfred wanted to do it, if he thought, I don't think him get it turned around, breaks my heart, we're going to part ways. I got to make a splash hire. I've wanted to make splash hires. I've done a good job so far with soccer and football and all that. What would you do? Who is the guy? And there really isn't a guy unless it's Beard, and that comes with some.
I just think maybe there's an understanding before next year. Like, understand that if it looks anything close to this again, this is your swan song.
Well, you might have a situation where you say, I don't care what it looks like. You could win 28 games or you could win 7. This is it.
Yeah, could be.
Any football questions in there?
We have a lot of basketball questions, Ira. At some point, I got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And we've had a bunch of
people actually better know. We got 7-8 minutes, whatever it is, 5-6 minutes. I'd like to end on a
high note.
I get it, buddy. I'm not
Let's
ignoring
ask you-
football questions. I'm going in order that the questions are asked. I can't win for losing, guys. If I ask
Hey,
all
man.
the questions
You don't
on
tell
Twitter,
me.
yeah. The fan base has expectations of a great season based on last year and the trajectory to compete for a national championship in the coming years. How do expectations change if we end up losing Atkins in the coming years? You like that question, Ira? You love the Atkins question.
I love the Atkins
buddy.
question.
Field that one, buddy. You wanted me to move on. There you go.
Two things. Number one, I think Alex Atkins has done a tremendous job, but I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. I don't think he's leaving for a head coaching job right away. I don't think that's like his big goal. I've said this numerous times. So if I turn out to be wrong, if he leaves to be a head coach 8 months,
You're going to bag all over your
months from now,
face.
you can throw these at me. I don't think he's dying to be a head coach right now. I think that's going to come for him. I think he'll be a great head coach. But in the meantime, I think he likes being here, and I think he likes what they're building. As far as how that would change, if he did leave, I don't think that changes anything dramatically overnight. Now, he's their best recruiter. I think he's a tremendous coach. I think he's great to have on the staff. But I think Mike Norvell is Mike Norvell, and I think they've got a good staff. I think he'll replace him with a good coach.
Well, I'm going to get you to double down because Boner wants to know.
Boner's made weekly appearances.
He's omnipresent.
Yes, he is.
If Atkins is our lead recruiter, is there a close second? I'm afraid we're going to lose him.
Everybody's worried about Alex Atkins leaving.
Florida State recruits itself, gang.
What did these people do when they had coaches who did want to leave? Like when Jimbo was trying to leave on anybody that had an opening, Jimbo was flirting with him. How did these people live through that time? Alex Atkins hasn't even tried to get in the mix for any jobs.
No, he's just mentioned, but
second best recruiter. I don't know, man.
Mike Norvell.
I was going to say.
Maybe. I mean,
by the way,
Dugans is rallying quickly.
He got Hakeem the Dream.
Yeah, he's rallied.
I think David Johnson's a really good recruiter. He's the recruiting coordinator. I don't know if I would. Who else I would?
Norvell's the answer. He does well with the portal. All those guys that come in, they talk about just how infectious.
Yeah, I think it's Norvell.
Speaking of, he recruited my girlfriend. She had a big time meeting him on Friday.
Yeah, so at what point does this go from being a joke to you're getting concerned?
Well, no,
she fawns over him around every turn.
That's her right there.
She mentions
you
it
can
in public.
see the glow.
Yeah,
she has a crush on him. There's no doubt.
Does he know that?
I don't think he knows that.
Because that might have been a little awkward.
But when they met and she said, "Hey, I'm Corey Clark's girlfriend," he
goes,
she said,
"He said, who's that?"
He's like, "Who? What?
Yeah.
Is he a kicker?" He's like, "No." She said he was effusive in his praise for what we do at Warchant.
Oh, really nice.
Said that I'm not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Yeah,
I don't let him off the hook. And I told Aslan that story. He's like, "Yeah, he should be a fan of yours. You're the one that made him keep his job because he went on that rant and can't lose anymore."
Did she follow it up by telling you the rest of the story, which was when he slid her a napkin with the number?
Yes.
Or room key.
Room key. Yeah. No, his house key. Yeah. With the gate code.
Here's the thing, which media outlet do we think he would have said, you know what, I don't really like their
I don't think
coverage.
it was an outlet. It was me, but you're right.
But,
if she had been, she could have
said
said
been
anyone.
weird to say, oh yeah, that guy, he's not very good at his
Well,
job.
I kind of want him to be like, because he said that I ask the hard questions and I'm always tough with him. I'm like, man, I don't feel like that's my role in this media outlet. I
He's
feel
trying
like
to help you out with your girlfriend.
But I'm kind of the jokey,
He was
fun-loving
doing the
guy.
right thing. Now, I will give Mike a lot of credit. He says about the media that covers him on the regular that he appreciates what we do.
Yeah.
When I interviewed him last week and said, "Thanks a lot, Mike. Really appreciate you." Off air, he's like, "Appreciate what you do, Jeff." Mike is really effusive with his praise.
Well,
of the
he
media.
wouldn't let the media have the access they did if he didn't appreciate what it can do for his program. I mean, he does.
You think he goes behind closed doors and says to Derek, "These slap asses.
They don't know
Probably.
anything.
The worst ever."
Probably.
Yeah.
I got to continue to smile and pretend like I care about these guys.
Corey's always cracking jokes. His girlfriend won't leave me alone.
She's obsessed.
She's obsessed
I'm
with
getting
me.
texts now. This is awful. For Ira and Corey, I'm Jeff. Thanks to Director Matthew and all of you. Be well, gang. We'll talk to you again next week. Peace.
Every day, Sellers makes life a